Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello YouTubers and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours with me, Colin. I hope you enjoy this one. This is the third in the series of lighthouse paintings, and there is a companion video to this for the paint mixes I'm going to use for the main colours for this. I've just stretched my paper and I've left a thin film of water on, and also I've applied masking fluid to the areas of surf that I want to keep clean. I do need a bright spot, so I'm going to put some citrus yellow in here, and then I also want to drop in some light patches of Naples yellow. I think that will be enough for that, and we may drop some in the sea. So down here I'm going to take just a little bit French ultramarine, and I'm just going to brush this in. You won't see much of this, paling it out. And I'm going to darken it around the areas where the masking fluid is to help that stand out in the stormy sky that I'm going to put in. And I'll bring some in here as well. Mixture of French ultramarine and burnt sienna. I'm going to begin to drop this in around this wave. I've left some parts open of it so the paint can creep into the wave, but we can remove that should it do so for a softer effect using a damp kitchen towel. So bring a little into the wave as well. Little into the sea. Softening some of that in. I'm going to take the really stronger mix of that we made, and once again I want to bring some storm clouds in. Right next to the top of this exploding wave, just to set the stormy atmosphere running. Just feeding this wet into wet. Just creating some cloud shapes here. Just to create a thicker mixture, just to drag some even darker clouds through, as if it's coming in from the right over to the left. Remember, this will fade an awful lot lighter. These are not painted with the Mission Gold paints. This one is painted with my normal watercolours. With a very detailed brush, I want to drop some clouds through this yellow very carefully. Don't mix it in, just create the shape you're looking for. Them stringy ones, it's just so that this patch of yellow basically isn't all one flat colour. And then I'm going to allow that to dry. Now that that's dry, you'll notice I've just put some bulldog clips around just before the paper dried out. So it's still damp, and that's just to stop the paper cockling. And you can see that where I've allowed the paint to creep into the large wave, it's gone soft, which is what I wanted. And I'm just going to add some clean water to this top wave. I'm going to be dropping some colours in. Taking it around the lighthouse. That's reasonably good. Take some French ultramarine, and I'm just going to allow patches of it, much Slightly dark around the edge on this one. French ultramarine and burnt sienna. I'm going to drop this in as well. Just creating plumes. I want to bring some across into the lighthouse. Very pale in here though. Whilst it's like that, you can take your kitchen towel, bring it into a point, and you can start to shape these plumes just by lifting off some paint. Fading off some areas. Again, coming into this one. You can do these one at a time, it can make it simpler for you. Touch the French ultramarine. Once again, some of the French ultramarine and burnt sienna. Adding a little around this house. You have plenty of time to do this. Up around this edge here because I want it to stand out. I'm going to darken it again slightly. Taking your kitchen towel once again. Creating some of the surf. French ultramarine and burnt sienna. Just imagine the shape of the spray that you want and then just manipulate the paint to give you that surf look. Even though it's very pale, it's still allowing some dark and some light patches to show through. Sometimes it's not about what you paint in, it can be about what you paint out or lift out. Come down to this one. Once again, some of the burnt sienna and French ultramarine. Just rolling the tissue through it. A little bit of darker stuff there. French ultramarine once again, maybe a touch darker down here as we're coming forward. But the stronger version of the French ultramarine and burnt umber. You see I'm just drizzling it in, trying to be random. And then once again, I'm going to leave that to dry. Now that's dry, I'm just going to water down some of this French ultramarine and burnt sienna. And I'll add some waves in along the back here, remembering just to add a little bit of movement. And I just want to take a damp brush and I'm catching the bottom of the wave where I've added the paint and I'm softening all that in. And I'd like a little on this side. These are the waves coming round the back of the rocks. Once again, just softening the bottoms off, just to add some movement. I've just painted in a little grey there, French ultramarine and burnt sienna, sorry, French ultramarine and burnt sienna. Just going to add some water to this lighthouse. Take some raw sienna, yellow ochre if you haven't got it. Just added some burnt sienna to that French ultramarine, just to change its colour. Some burnt sienna into here, and I'm just going to pull this round. French ultramarine and burnt sienna again, but we're just getting a little darker. Re-wet the rock at the back, the board is laying flat. Raw sienna in here again. Sort of the same along here. Once again, quite strong now, the raw sienna. Take some burnt sienna. I'm just adding a little water to this and paling it in, as I don't want it to be too strong up here. The board is laying flat, so I'm just pulling the colour through the raw sienna. Quite strong here. I want some of the raw sienna to show through, and I want an even darker mix, and I want to run this down in patches just to create the rocky tops and a few crags that are in it. A bit stronger for this one. Now I'm just dropping it in, just pulling it down slightly. Little hints of it in here. Taking a damp brush and just manipulating this a little bit. Deepening the tone in certain areas just to help pull it out, but I don't want to pull it out too far. We can always adjust this a little bit later, but we do want a dark edge along here to really pull this lighthouse out. And then we're going to leave that to dry. I do need a deeper colour, so I'm going to add a colour. I'm going to take some burnt umber deep. I'm going to add that into the centre, taking some of the French ultramarine. Quite thick that. And I just want to add in some parts to this rock, showing some jagged edges, a bit like painting your mountains. I do want it to stand out, and I'm just touching it and then just pulling the brush down, allowing the paint to break off it, a bit like oil painting. Just helps to give shape to your rock, start to soften some of it in. With a damp brush, just leaving some hard and soft edges at the same time. Misting up the bottom where the rock drops into the sea. Same for this one. See, I'm just dragging it's the tip, but also the side of the tip, just to help create the crags. If you think you've got a little too much paint on, just take some off. Once again, just softening some of this out. Watering a little bit of this down, one or two areas in here. Just going to put this house in here, and then whilst that's staying it, just lift the colour off again, just to allow that to pale right back. Taking some of the French ultramarine and burnt sienna, I'm just going to darken up one or two edges of it. Where the windows are, just underneath here, pull it across. Because I don't want that to be too strong. To fuzz that into the wave, soften all this down and in, allowing it to stand out. Soften the bottom edge off and around it. And I think we can just drop in a tiny bit of burnt sienna. Adding a little bit of extra dark onto my lighthouse this side. Taking a damp brush, just pulling some across. Creating a soft line. A few broken lines to indicate that there's some shielding where the panes of glass are. Okay, your whole picture is now dry, but I want to squeeze out a little white paint, and I want to leave all of this white in, to be honest with you. I want the surf to be quite big. So I'm taking an oil painting brush, hog hair, and I do want to add just one or two sprinkles in. I don't want to go overboard with this. It can be a bit tricky adding white. Just little hints of it round here. Just a little bit of spray off this large wave here. Trying to give it that random shape look. Flat brush just along the tops of these waves here, just a little, just give them a little pull. Perhaps a few white seagulls just in this corner. Three's good. After painting it, you get to enjoy shining it, mounting it and framing it. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe. Please feel free to share and leave a comment if you've enjoyed it. So once again, I'd like to thank you very much for watching.